The first time I went to my stepfather's parents' house was like entering a foreign country. I couldn't find a TV anywhere. Everywhere I looked, there were signs, bowls, cups, and tchotchkes with the Kellogg's Cornflakes logo on them. It would become my mother's last name. They had a guest room that doubled as a small arsenal. A large locked hutch held a column of rifles with revolvers tucked along each side like a holster. On the floor was a wooden toy pistol that shot rubber bands at spinning wooden targets. Parts of houses and machinery hung like art in the backyard. The handprints and names of my stepdad and his two siblings were solidified in cement: Andy, Lori, and Danny. And hanging from each crossbeam of the wooden patio cover were 5 street signs stating the names of my future family members, all boys: Danny, Timothy, Alex, Cody, and Darren. Christmas morning 1992 started like most Christmas mornings do. My sister and I dashing toward the tree while morning has barely had time to kick off the blanket of night. We tear through taped up boxes stuffed with tissue paper to unearth whatever our mother could afford: slap bracelets, a My Little Pony, a VHS of Aladdin, an outfit from Kmart. Instead of crawling back into bed to replenish the energy needed for our late Christmas lunch and even later dinner, we were ushered into the shower to get ready for our first Kellogg Christmas breakfast. I come from holidays of rice and beans. Stove-warm tortillas replace packaged rolls. Our chicken is mole'd, not roasted. The best mornings are scented with chorizo and eggs. The spicy sausage is so good that you don't care what parts of the pig it came from: the snout, the cheeks, the salivary glands. All of the kids hang around the kitchen, waiting to be handed tortillas that have been rolled like golden scrolls, dripping butter and salt. My grandma stands over the stove, stirring bubbling pots and splattering pans, while a sputtering crock pot cooks carnitas. She pulverizes pintos with a potato masher while simultaneously preparing what she's bringing to Christmas dinner, like beef enchiladas or pork tamales. But on this morning, we walked up a heavily decorated driveway, past a yard where reindeer pranced about to knock on the door of the house where fake snow had fallen on its windowsills. We were welcomed inside by a big jolly man, our new grandpa, Wally. There was even more fake snow inside and other decorations like little plastic figurines that climbed up a slope and then slid down a winding icy slide. A long table was set with ceramic Christmas plates in the dining room where the adults would eat. In the kitchen, our new grandma, Ginny, smiled so largely that her eyes seemed to shrink and crinkled at the corners. She guided my sister and me to a smaller table that was set for the kids. I remember that I did not want to sit next to Cody, the crybaby and chronic tattler. This kitchen was void of almost all the breakfast smells I was used to, except for bacon. Bacon is universal. There was some sort of scrambled egg baked with peppers in a large dish. There was Skier's French toast, which is a mixture of corn syrup, butter, brown sugar, milk, eggs, and a loaf of bread cut up and crusting to a baking pan. My sister and I sat at the kids' table, stealing sideways glances at one another to see who'd plunge their fork in first, relieved when our mom comes up behind us and whispers that we don't have to eat anything we didn't like. Between breakfast and opening presents, the adults send us out to play while they clean up the kitchen and dining room. I noticed 2 street signs have been added to the crossbeams. I knew the lengths Ginny and Wally went to include my sister and me in their offbeat family custom. My sister's name is Elena. You just don't find souvenirs with her name on it. They had to have this faux street sign specially made. The rest of the morning was fairly normal. We played in the backyard with the boys, opened presents, played with the presents, then took a family picture in front of a wooden cutout of Santa Claus and a Christmas tree on the front lawn before going home. I participated in this family ritual until my mom and stepdad got divorced a few years ago. To avoid feeling even more out of place than I normally did, I skipped Kellogg family functions. That changed this October when I found out that Ginny and Wally's 50th anniversary was coming up. It's a huge milestone. I knew I had to go. I drove with my sister and 2-year-old niece, who was our excuse to leave early if things got awkward. We entered the large room with round tables and balloon arches. Each table had a centerpiece with photos of Ginny and Wally at different stages in their life and relationship. A slideshow of photos that my stepdad had put together was playing on a large projection screen at the front of the room. My sister and I found our younger brother at a table near the screen and sat down, not recognizing 90% of the people present. I couldn't help but notice that we weren't in any of the pictures. After about an hour, my Aunt Lori stood at the front of the room with a microphone to thank everyone for attending the party and to thank all of the grandsons for their help. Danny arrived at the same time Elena and I, so what he did to help that we didn't, I'm still not sure. Lori finished doling out her gratitude to her family, the guests, and the taco cart lady who catered the event. Then my Uncle Andy, her husband, Donnie, and my stepdad took their turns toasting the strength and longevity of the roots of their family tree. Grandpa Wally was the last to step up to the microphone, and almost as soon as he began to speak, he began to cry. He gushed about his blushing bride between blubbers. Grandma Jenny sat silently, her eyes glistening with affirmations that their coupling in subsequent 50 years had been good. It had resulted, in Wally's words, in 3 grandchildren that were amazing people and 8 wonderful grandchildren. I began doing the math in my head. Lori and Danny had 3 boys. Andy and Eileen had 2 boys. Dan and my mom had 1 boy. And then there were my sister and me. We were the 8 grandchildren. That number resonated heavily within me, pinballing inside my chest and gut as my sister and I got up from the table to go home. We made our rounds around the tables, hugging aunts, uncles, and cousins. I hugged my grandpa and congratulated him, leaving Grandma Jenny for last. She seemed disappointed that we were leaving early, but she smiled anyway as we hugged. She thanked us for coming, and as I pulled back from our embrace, she said, "Sorry we didn't send you guys an invitation. We didn't think you'd want to come." What do you say to that? I said the first thing that came to mind. I'll see you Christmas morning.